नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् हरि ओम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Yes, Jai Shri Krishna. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Inform the link and we can go ahead. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes. Anything you can recollect. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, जी. Hari Om. Yes, Beena ji, please tell me.
Krishna spoke about the yogi who has attained oneness with the Supreme, and he's always, he's in a state of constant bliss. No sorrow or grief affects him, and no other happiness is greater than the bliss that he's enjoying at that moment.
Ji.
So Krishna says one has to, even for our daily activities, one has to constantly give up desires and focus, meditate upon him, and every karma that you do, becomes a divya karma.
Ji.
Sorry.
Yes, please continue. Ji. Yes, ji.
And the yogi also sees everybody with samta. He sees the self in all and all in the self.
Ji.
So he's always in he works with the consciousness of the divine all the time.
Yes.
And Arjuna then says that he's unable to understand all what Krishna is saying because his mind is in turmoil, very
Ji.
turbulent mind, and he says, I cannot understand anything of what you are saying. So
Ji.
Krishna then again goes to say that one has to start practicing to focus, that is to meditate and keep trying.
Abhyasena. Yes, Abhyasena and Vairagyena.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ji, ji. It is very interesting because Krishna has talked about something very beautiful. He's talked about a consciousness that is universal, a consciousness that is spread out everywhere. That consciousness will allow you to see oneness. Oneness in what? Well, oneness even in the saint and the sinner. Oneness in the near and the far. Samaloštashma Kanchana is what we saw, isn't it? Objects. Then from objects, this samatha happens to people. And then it goes to the next stage where the yogi does not discriminate himself from the others also. Means many times we give ourselves partiality, isn't it? I can do it, it's okay. That person should not behave this way. But no, this oneness has come. Krishna says with that oneness, this person becomes free. That is the yogi who is able to, be so calm and so peaceful at all times because his consciousness is clear, clear as a mirror, reflecting only what is on the outside. Normally, one would feel, even thinking it sounds very nice because one is, it is Krishna who is speaking. Krishna is the realized one. We've all learnt about Krishna's greatness and all, so that is fine. But the very concept, it will be so beautiful, isn't it? I think we all aspire for this only, isn't it? Let us agree. Let family members become one. Let us understand each other's language. Let our hearts be one. Let my feelings and your feelings match. Let's not try to break anybody's feelings. It's so simple that this is a simple aspiration. Do you know this was also the aspiration of the Rigvedic yogis? The Rig Veda's last sukta, which is called a Sannyana Sukta. You see, the great rishis, they have invoked devas, they have seen devas. Indra, Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Ila, Saraswati. There are suktas. There are suktas which are powerful. There are suktas which are speaking about wars. There are suktas about realization, about new dawns, new births. So many things are there in those suktas. Sometimes multiple gods are invoked in the same suktas. They are powerful, some are sweet, and so many things. But do you know, last sukta is what? It says, Sam gachadvam, sam vadadvam. Sam wo manasi janatam. Means it is let us agree, let us live together happily. Means after calling all the gods, they are calling upon that oneness of consciousness. Why is that? Because that is the final manifestation. Two people fight, both are wrong. No? That is what my teacher also says, and Sri Aurobindo has also talked about something similar. Because both are holding on to one more point. What will happen? When will reconciliation take place? Otherwise, it will always be compromise. Is there any satisfaction in compromise? No, no satisfaction at all. And the power dynamics is always waiting. The one who has compromised is waiting for the revenge. Next moment comes, I will. And this is even for little things, even dialogues between friends also. That day you told no, now you see what has happened. Then the moment the chance comes, the reaction is there because reconciliation has not taken place. And Sri Krishna is giving that to Arjuna, that high knowledge. But look at Arjuna right now. He's not in a position to accept it. What oneness? Duryodhana and I are one. No way. There cannot be any oneness in he and I. We are separate. This is the bhed in buddhi. This buddhi bhed has happened because of either rajas or tamas. And because of that, despite Sri Krishna saying this, he says, Krishna, I have a doubt. It's like a student telling, I have a doubt. But he's not saying, I don't have a doubt in the theorem that you're teaching. I have a doubt in the very subject. Your entire yoga. What is this yoga you're talking about? Oneness. I don't understand head or tail. And you were talking about you like windless place, lamp, and everything. My mind is the wind. Now work on it. Boss, it is your job now. This is the wind. Can you hold the wind in your hand? Can you control the wind? What example are you going to give me now? Krishna very beautifully in a detached manner. He understands where Arjuna is coming from. He says, yes, I understand it's difficult to control the mind. It is difficult to tame the mind. But abhyasena, with practice. It is only with practice that you become perfect, isn't it? Siddhi comes by sadhana, no? Or will it come just like that? Phone app is there, order delivery, home delivery, one siddhi, two siddhis. Can we do that? No, we cannot. So we have to do sadhana and then it will come. And for a sadhana, abhyas is required. While sadhana is going on, while abhyas is going on, what happens? Many times there are desires, even on the spiritual path. Some people say it's all right to have spiritual path, desires on spiritual path. They give most weirdest of explanations on why it is right. But their desires are desires only, no? They will again trap you. That is why in certain yogas, some gurus, they say, no, we don't care about siddhis at all. Because forget the siddhis. Focus on sadhana only. Become. Otherwise, you get attached. So again, for that also, you need to get detached. Detached means what? Having vairagya. Best example I can think of is one senior sadhika from the ashram. She is no more right now. Kusumben. She had come a life in abhyas and life in vairagya. Entire life spent for that only. Dedicated her at a young age. She came. She even met the mother. She was one of the few ones who had been touched by the mother. And what that was her. She was so and till the last minute. She was in her 80s also and 90s also. Yet she would come to work. She was in charge of the perfumery department. And she was so frail, okay, very frail. Yet everybody was afraid of her. Why? Because she was perfect. She would sit on the table, each and everything that is happening, and she would not tolerate imperfection anywhere because that is the yoga karma sukhaushalam, isn't it? Perfection in work is spirituality. Yeah, it is. And I would just enjoy the opportunity of going and delivering the products there because I'm going to meet her. And I still remember when she just touched my hand. Now we say what happens with sparsha. Does transformation happen? We have heard of stories, no, in Ramayana. Ahilya's, she got released by the sparsha of Sri Ram. Well, for me, I was just removing the products and I was keeping on the table. She just came, touched my shoulder. Suddenly, I said, why is my shoulder so up? I just became conscious. While I'm removing it, I don't need to raise my shoulder. It was something from my previous life of badminton. I used to always raise the shoulder. It was looking very awkward. And I did just by her touch, I realized it. Now, this person is Siddha person herself, and yet she was not attached to anything. One day she came to Damleji, she said, I wanted to learn pranayam. So she was senior to Damleji also, but she came like a young student with a pen and a notebook to take notes. And that time when Damliji was telling her about Anulom Vilom, somebody who practices this pranayam regularly, who has got a siddhi, both nostrils get active. That time she hit her head like this. अच्छा मुझे लगा कुछ गड़बड़ है, because her nostrils had become active and she didn't care about it at all. So this is how it is. So Vairagya, Krishna says, Vairagya will take you ahead. You will be able to experience that higher consciousness. Otherwise, and she was somebody who knew her last day of on earth also. She arranged for on the previous, she met everybody, all the nice people who had been nice to her. She invited them over on the previous day. Like a perfect host, she saw to that everybody had a good food. And next day in the night, she had passed away after finishing. It was like all people of different ages. So I'm saying this is the Siddhi. Siddhi is there, and yet the person is calm and peaceful, not trying to show off. Otherwise, people run ads only. I have got this Siddhi. They, they hire professionals also for different advertisements. So I want these clicks to appear in these places about my Siddhis. It's not required. It is not required. Brahmar will come directly, when the lotus blossoms. The lotus does not have to give invitation. Say, yes, now I have blossomed now. Come, come. It is something like that. Krishna is telling that to Arjuna. "Hey, Arjuna, with abhyasa." But my question is abhyasa and vairagya easy? Anybody? Yes or no?
There's a lot of discipline.
Lot of discipline. Sometimes we feel we cannot keep up, no ji? Vinita ji, that discipline.
Yeah.
So what will happen if we don't keep up then? What do you think?
You're back to square one.
Back to square one or you'll regress? Don't know. Not sure. Okay, let us see because Arjuna has a question. Arjuna has a question immediately after this. Let us look at what Arjuna says. But one thing is interesting, isn't it? Arjuna has forgotten his deep depression. He is now engaging in dialogue and introspection and trying to understand. But in that he forgot his deep sorrow. So Krishna has got him occupied into something else now. He's forgotten his entire sorrow. Like children, no? Quickly distract. Parents know how to distract little kids. That way Krishna has done and brought Arjuna into a very nice track. So he says, let's see what question he asks. But so far, Arjuna's questions have not been seeking questions. They have been skeptical questions. They have been questions which are doubting Krishna. There have been questions where they are just using mental logic to disprove what Krishna has said. Every time when Krishna says, Klaibyam Asmagama Partha, in the very first words, he says, become quiet. He says, Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhe. How can I? Look, Bhishma is here. Drona is here. You're asking me like this. Then when he talks about Atman, he says, what Atman is there? I don't understand. Tell me practically. Yatkin karmani ghore mam. Why are you asking me to do ghor karma of yuddha if there is spirit? Then he says, no, there is that innate spirit describing karma yoga and everything. And then he says, next question is, what is this, Krishna? If there is a divine spirit, why are people doing sin? Means he's countering every single thing Krishna is saying. This is what happens in our, what we can say, lower consciousness. We attach to the doubts. We attach, skepticism starts controlling us. Luckily, he is doing it to Krishna and he is doing it with sincerity. So Krishna is going to take him ahead only. That is what we are seeing. And slowly a moment starts. But when Arjuna crosses over that, barrier of doubts, that will be the new Arjuna and that will be a great set of questions, which we will also start enjoying the Gita in a different light when that transformation happens from skeptic to sadhak. But that is required. So asking questions also is required. Swami Vivekananda had also asked questions. अगर तुम है, अगर तुम हो, तो ये क्यों है? If you are there, why is all of this? Why are my brethren in Bengal suffering in the famine? So questions are all right. Krishna is not having any problem. So we should also not have any problem. We can enjoy Arjuna's questions only. Let us see what he says. Arjuna Uvacha Ayatihi Shraddhayopeto Yogachalita Manasaha Aprapya Yoga Sansiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gachati. Oh Krishna, what happens to the one who goes astray? After embarking on the path of yoga, I wish to earnestly know. When despite his faith, a seeker's mind wanders away, if he fails to attain perfection, in the end, where does he go? Krishna is asked a very direct question by Arjuna. And this is a question that probably resonates with us also, isn't it? But if I start some sadhana and I'm not able to keep up, a friend of mine started a particular sadhana, he was not able to, then he became more guilty and he said, see, because I didn't do this, I'm going to suffer more now. You say, let good thoughts come to you up from all directions is a nice Bhadra. That is something. That is a shloka also. But here we are inviting bad thoughts sometimes with our doubts. So Arjuna is right now saying, no, no, Krishna, tell me. He says, what happens to the one who goes astray? After embarking on the path of yoga, I wish to honestly know. Meaning he has started walking on the journey. He has got attracted by the call of the spirit. He has not only heard the call, he has taken the first step. Many times the first step is not taken, no. First is nobody hears only. Out of network coverage, the divine call is coming, we are not listening to it. So it is said, rare is the one who hears the call. Rarer is the one who heeds to it. So here, because among those who hear also, they don't act on it. So here, Arjuna says, what happens if somebody does act to that inner voice? After embarking on the path of yoga, I wish to earnestly know when, despite his faith, a seeker's mind wanders away. There's Shraddha, that is why he's walking on the path. But despite the Shraddha, the Dhruti or determination may not be that firm. So if he wanders away, what happens, Krishna? He is not attaining that Siddhi or what is perfection. In the end, he doesn't attain the perfection. Where does he go? They say, no, grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes you say, I am following spiritual path, I am following this particular Aradhya, and I am not having happiness. I'm doing so much good, so many things. I'm not, look, that person is not doing anything. Still he's having, or she's enjoying so much. That feeling we do get. But here Arjuna is really worried about himself. What if I make some mistake? This path is having a very big, biggest toll, no? You have to pay. You have to say, you have to surrender. Surrender what? All your desires. We know not to hold on to desires. ये मेरे सपने यही तो है अपने. These are only my dreams. These are all what I can hold on. Now these also I have to surrender. And then after I have given that, am I going to be dropped completely? Will I not reach? Well, what will happen then? That's his question. He goes on further. He says, कच्चिन्नो भयविभ्रष्टश्छिन्ना भ्रमिव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढ़ो ब्रह्मणः पथि. Oh, warrior mighty, does he not lose out on both lives here? When the human desires, he fails to completely give up, and the union with Brahma, when he fails to keep up and perish like a cloud that will only disappear. So Arjuna is saying, what happens to that person? Once he started walking on the path, suddenly he got attracted by the desires. He was not able to keep up with his, what we can say, full detachment. He started walking and he's gone astray again. What happens then? Because he's neither here nor there, like Trishanku, trapped in between. Somebody who is only on the material path of desires will keep enjoying desires, will bear consequences, a different thing. But this person, he has started, so he's not on this road, he's not on that road also. Then he has become like a cloud only, which is going to disappear. How is this question Arjuna is asking? Isn't it valid? Anybody? Is yoga bhrashta? He uses the word. What happened to that person who becomes bhrashta on the path of yoga?
Yeah, it is very valid because हम सबके साथ भी होता है कि बहुत बार we are actually on the path of spirituality, but कभी ना कुछ mind में आते हैं negative thoughts या आप haywire तो हो ही जाते हो. It is very natural tendency.
Yes,
तो
and then
अर्जुन is
we feel no, it will be more worse. I'll have extra
मतलब
quota.
वो लगता है ना इधर के ना उधर के बीच में फंस गए.
There's somewhere in
So
between.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is a natural thing. But
a natural
that is the time when we need to use our wisdom.
Yeah, but that time wisdom goes on vacation, no? Which is why
Exactly.
that we are having the questions
Right,
because of
right.
that. Yes, yes. So here Arjuna is actually disturbed and he suddenly feels, no, I may have done something. He's having that guilt. What if I have not? There's something called moral injury. Means in life, whether I've done right or not, sometimes you get that doubt, I should have done this, I should have done this. And then that becomes such a big thing you carry all your life. You don't even know why you're carrying such burdens. So like that, there's something called yoga bhrashta. You do like this, you will suffer consequences. So then you are more afraid of doing that action only because the consequences are more bad. So it's like I did this particular japa, but I should not have done it this way. Now God will get more angry. I'll have more problem because of this. See, this is all very different occult science. You're going to have more dangerous consequences because of this. These are fear mongering only, isn't it? And this happens at all levels, at all places, everywhere. My grandmother, when I was very young, had told me if you yawn while eating, especially breakfast time, you'll become a pig. That's all. I was like, हो गया खत्म," because I yawned so many times that next Janma, my story is that only. My grandma, Dadima has told. Because that is a thought. This thought is fed from somewhere else. People also say, no, this is a very difficult. Yeah, difficulty is there. Difficulty is what? Dealing with the attachments. But another type of difficulty. One person was on a particular marga. They say Vama marga is very difficult. Now, for somebody who's doing Shraddha, who is having sincerity, there is no specially difficult marga or easy marga. All margas with sincerity you follow, you can go ahead. But this person, because mine is a special marga which is more extra difficult, this person felt now different forces are working against him. Then I said, Acha, didn't tell your guru. No, no, I told half only to the guru. Why? If I told little bit more, he'll get angry. Means what is it? You are again starting inside of your own mind divisions. Yeah, I'll share 50%, I'll share 70%. And this is more challenging, so I will have more bad consequences. That is why I am having, that's why I'm not able to come out. One would think this is a childish thought, but no, this was a very senior person, a very well-reputed person. I know, and he's like an elder brother to me. I'm just a few years, but what was this? This was a mind, no, having that trap. Arjuna is having something similar. But one beautiful aspect is there in Arjuna that is allowing him to come out. That is his Shraddha in Krishna. You see, Arjuna is being purely like a child, opening himself up completely in front of Krishna without any reservation about what will Krishna feel, what will Krishna think. Why? He's confident Krishna will not feel bad. He's not insulting Krishna. He's not purposely trying to insult. It may be happening, what we say, out of ignorance, but not purposely. So he is there, and this Shraddha comes again in the next shloka. We will see here. Arjuna says, Etan me sanshayam Krishna hetum arhasya sheshatah vadanyah sanshayasya chetana yupapadyate. He says, this great uncertainty, O Krishna, you must dispel. And the smallest of my queries you must expel. You must expel, Dadagiri, you must expel, he says. So little of little doubts also, he says. Why? He says, why does he say that? Next part, he says, for this seems to be the only way out, and the Shraddha is visible in the next line. And you alone can destroy this grave doubt. He says, if there's anybody in this Bhuloka who can help me right now, who can, vanquish this doubt, it is you, Krishna. So because of that, there is a adhikar also, isn't it, of a Shishya. With that adhikar, he says, Krishna, you must answer my every single query, and smallest of smallest doubts you have to clear them, because I have Shraddha. That allows us, probably Shraddha is again one more very special thing which will quickly elevate our consciousness even in our bad times, because it will connect us to a source of light. Does it matter in a dark room whether you have a small lamp or just a candle, or we can say just some LED bulb only is there? Does it make a difference? Light is light, no? It will dispel darkness. It is something like that. In your darkest moment also, if you're able to hold on to Shraddha, there will not be any dark moment at all, because Shraddha is the light, and Arjuna has found it all the time. This is why he is coming out of a very grave situation. Sri Krishna spoke. So he's going to address this question about the regression or destruction on the path of yoga. If you're not able to, sustain your consciousness, what happens? I was also very happy. I came to know I will not become a pig in the next birth. My grandma was wrong. Because after this shloka, there is hope. There is no problem. Why is it? Let us see. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. पार्थ नैवेह नामुत्र विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते नहि कल्याणकृत कश्चित् दुर्गतिम तात गच्छति. Shri Krishna spoke, "Oh Arjuna, know this. There is no destruction, neither in this life or the next, for there is no regression. For him who selflessly works for the greater good, no ultimate harm can befall him. May this be understood." Ultimately, Krishna is saying that this entire journey is not going to get destroyed. There is no regression, meaning after Manushya Yoni, there is not going to be a regression into animal Yoni. There's going to be evolution only. Mangal Pandey was hanged, isn't it? Yes or no? Britishers celebrated. We killed him. We killed that rebel. But did they kill the rebellion? The spirit was there, no? The spirit was what? That spirit manifested, and it spirit manifested at manifold, quickly. So what happened was, what was the aspiration? He was ready to die for the higher cause, isn't it? And that aspiration bore fruit. Our Bharat is actually what we can say. We are a land which has born because of sacrifices of so many people. We don't know how many people have sacrificed for our freedom today. Just the very fact that we are able to, hold the Gita in our hands today itself is an act of sacrifice of so many people who died just for saying, I will not lose my culture, I will not lose my tradition, I will not forget the Sanatan Dharma. For saying this, people were killed. If anybody knows who was the son of Shivaji Maharaj, Shambhaji Maharaj, anybody knows what happened? His last moment, his eyes were gouged out, his tongue was pulled out, so many things, and yet he stood, I will stand. But because of that, we are having what we call Swarajya, isn't it? So many such sacrifices. So Krishna is saying this, there's no regression on the soul level. So this aspect, maybe in Puranic stories, there are stories of somebody becoming something else. But otherwise, the journey is going ahead. Puranic stories also are told, but they are like folklore, isn't it? For people to understand, for those who could not understand the full context of the Rig Veda or the Upanishads, for them the Puranas were there. So there they were the stories. But here Krishna Shloka says, no Arjuna, this yoga bhrashta, it is probably a figment of your imagination. There is nothing like that, is what he is saying. Prapya punya प्राप्य पुण्य कृताम लोकान अनुषित्वा शाश्वती ही समाहा शुचिनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्टो भिजायते. What happens to the one then who falters? Sometimes we see in life, isn't it? Great yogi did good things and suddenly became bhogi. That's a fall, isn't it? That's a fall for him. What happens to such a person then? Well, Krishna says this. He says, the one who on the path of yoga falters attains the realm of the pious sentient beings, and after dwelling there for many years, is once more born in the household of pure beings. Means even the one who has done some sadhana, that's a punyaya only, no? Whatever sadhana is being done, it's like you're depositing some money into your bank account. What happens to the money? It grows, no? It stays there in the bank. Just because you stop depositing, does that mean that money will suddenly disappear? Unless you spend it, it will not, no? It is something like that. So somebody did some sadhana, somebody did some good. Well, that good remains. Maybe may not immediately understand. Krishna says such a person, by virtue of the sadhana, by the virtue of the goodness of the spirit, this person, there are other realms of consciousness, probably beyond our this bhuloka. After our death, nobody has understood exactly what happens there. So Krishna is talking about this dream. He says they spend some of their time, but is their story over? No, no, isn't it? They have not completed. They've not attained their siddhi. So they're again born. They're again born. And Krishna says they're born in a household of pure beings because the sadhana has started. That is why it is said sadhana is so essential. Many times, one person's sadhana lifts the entire family out of difficulties. This is true. One person's sadhana, the punyaya of that person can help an entire family. Why is that? Well, the higher consciousness, everybody who's connected gets benefited, isn't it? Some say if you are having some difficult moment in life, financial, emotional, say something happens suddenly which is shaken, you are broken, you are bit. If you are all connected to the attachment in a family, what's happened? What happens? No social distancing, then spreading only, no, something like that, it happens. But one person is able to tolerate. It's like, don't worry, I'll stand, I'll look after it. So that one person is having enough strength to lift everybody else. Something like that, a yogi also is able to do. So Arjuna, whatever, after walking ahead, if the person falls also, it's okay. He'll have to, he'll like, we have some, what we can say, he has connected some good points. So because of that, he gets a nice stay. His trip is made in a nice place, but then afterwards, when we go to make our trips and retreats, what do? We don't permanently go there, no. We go for 5 days, enjoy it, and then fifth day, oh no, go back to usual, complete your works. Something like that, the yogi has to return. Krishna goes on. Athava, अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. So he's talking about even after birth. So here, a pious home, being born in a pious home is a blessing, isn't it? Means just imagine you're born in a house of a terrorist. What will be the first thing you learn? You will learn hate, you will learn how to, destroy people, you will be indoctrinated right from childhood. So it's so easy. It's actually a blessing to not be born in such a place. A pious home, nice parents, they're able to talk something good and all of that, it's fine. Otherwise, it becomes problem. Terrorists or somebody junkies home only. Parents are only discussing how to illegally smuggle drugs. What will the child learn there? What sanskar will be created? So this is difficult. So there, it is already a blessing, but even greater blessing is to be born in a home of a yogi. That's what Krishna is saying. That much is the punyaya of that person. That this person, it is a durlabha yoga. It's a rarest of rare occasions, he says. Or he may be born in a yogi's house and to the family of the pious and wise. For it is a privilege so very rare to be born in a household with a spiritual air. So it is a very, very rare privilege to have this atmosphere of spirituality. It's like in the nursery, roses grow very nicely, no? Why do they grow well in the nursery? Because everything is being taken care of. So that is the advantage. We say all of us are equal, yes, but we are not born on the same equal platform, isn't it? Everybody has different stories, different places, different things they have to rise. But there's one more interesting thing. If we are not born in if we are not a rose in the nursery, does that mean only roses will grow in nursery only, or they can grow outside also? They can grow outside, and it is said the roses that grow outside of the nursery, they are sturdier. So it is all up to the individual, because you sometimes people buy, they say, ah, this rose was looking so beautiful before I bought it. After I came home, it's wilted and there's no new rose at all, because this roses got used to that atmosphere, but whatever it is, maybe. But sometimes it's like a head start. Born in a yogi's home means Shastras are yours, you are going to get Adhyatma Vidya, just like that. So that is the opportunity. Some people are lucky to get that. What happens then after that? Well, Krishna says, Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyaha sansiddhau Guru Nandana. And there, Krishna says, and there, He assumes his previous birth status and resumes his yoga after an outer worldly hiatus. And his works gradually evolve towards perfection. O Arjuna, in yoga there is only ascension. Krishna is told clearly on the path of yoga there is only rising of consciousness. Sometimes they take time, but then they realize it. The ugly duckling realizing that I am not just a duckling, I am the Rajahamsa. Over. The day realization comes, that is the day. And sometimes it takes a while. So they have to take some experiences. Everybody has to take some experiences. You see, Gautam Buddha also, when he was the prince, he had to take certain experiences, isn't it? And then get into the journey. Something like that, Krishna is saying. And his work slowly graduate towards perfection. Because he's continuing the half story. Picture is not complete, the picture is getting complete now, and he's carrying forward from that. I think many times we've seen in reality shows, isn't it? Children singing songs with such impeccable perfection that judges also get shocked. Yeah, I've spent decades in doing riyas and I've not been able to reach certain levels. This boy has not, or this girl, they have both not attained age also. They've not even reached puberty and they're singing the song of a lover who has left him. What experience these children have had. But look at the bhava in the voice. Look at the control of the swara. Where did it come from? This is a Gandharva who has taken birth again. Or like how Ma Lata Mangeshkar ji was called, no? Gana Saraswati. She had the touch of Ma Saraswati is what they all understood. Because that was the beauty. So it is like that. So the journey is, because that is why it is said everyone is born with their own destiny and their own purpose. We have to just realize it. There's a break sometimes. We don't realize it. That is where we get the, what we can say, starting problem. Sometimes we need a kickstart and then the start happens. But once it happens, then it is just continuation. I realize the purpose of my existence. Once you find that, there is no stopping. Then it goes forward, is what Krishna says. And he says there is only ascension. On the spiritual path also, the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram also says, nothing is certain but the certitude of victory on the path of the spirit. That is the truth. So Yoga Bhrashta, no Arjuna, don't have to think that. Just because some uncle or somebody told Yoga Bhrashta, you don't have to think about it at all. It is not right. He goes on further. He says, Purvabhyasena tenaiva riyate yavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmanti vartate. By virtue of his previous birth, his yoga is carried forward, and the soul is towards the signs of union allured. And beyond the ritualistic practice, the seeker then ascends, and the principles of the Vedas and the Upanishads, he verily transcends. What happens then? He's already done his studies, he's already done his abhyasa in the previous birth. Now it is just the next step he has to take. Quickly, his yoga is carried forward. I think many times we've heard of so many yogis, isn't it? They were different right from the childhood. If we look at their life stories, has anybody studied the biography of any saint? Yes? Anybody? We should try reading because that gives us a lot of interesting insight. Because how did the saint become the saint we know? Yes, Anjuji.
Autobiography of a yogi,
Yes, absolutely.
Paramhans Yogananda.
Yeah. The journey is
Yes.
there. No, it is there. My Guruji also, when he was very young, he was suddenly, I am Sai Baba. He would sit, and his children, his sisters, elder sisters would do puja of him. It was very, how as a small child only they thought is even coming is very funny, isn't it? How is it possible? Well, again, the journey is there. Hiranyakashipu, what can he do? Wow, sad. He wanted his son to be something else, but his son had to go that direction. No, it's not his choice. The choice is of the soul. The soul has taken birth. Many people think we give birth or we create the atmosphere and everything. It is the soul that is born. Sometimes in the best of the best atmosphere, somebody can get spoiled. And in the worst of worst atmosphere, somebody remains what the highest consciousness is there, that person cannot be disturbed. So that journey is a soul journey. And Krishna is saying that that soul is allured, attracted no matter what, whichever direction it is. Sri Aurobindo's father didn't want him to do anything with yoga. He did not want him to have any connection with Bharata. So he sent him to UK, and he ensured he got the English education. He learned everything about the Western philosophy, everything. Greek also, and he was such a great expert. He got his English also was so brilliant, his language also was so excellent, and his thirst for learning. He went deep into Greek and Latin, all the stories, and he found the link between Rigvedic gods and Greek gods. And afterwards, he came into Bharat. He came with such a force. You see, normally he cleared all exams except horse riding. And so he did not get his, otherwise he would have been in UK. Now he chose that. He chose to not take part. And then he got called. Then the Maharaja gave him a job at his place. And then he came there. From there, he became the principal. And then into the freedom struggle. So what is it? It is a, and from the freedom struggle, suddenly into sadhana. Means young Subhash Chandra Bose also got confused. Earlier, he thought, wow, when he was writing, he felt there is fire in his words. This is the freedom struggle. And then suddenly, what has happened? Why has he withdrawn? He felt this is not right. He should not withdraw because that was his vision, his view. But Sri Aurobindo's yoga was different. He had come for a higher purpose. Even now, today's new education system, policy of Bharat also, the Home Minister had come to Pondicherry to inaugurate some book or some on the some what was this 175th year. And that time he said every page of the new education policy is driven by the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. You study it, you will find it is what they are saying. Maybe many people call it a radical philosophy, everything, but look at it. Again, they are trying to incorporate his principles. So this is something which Arjuna Krishna is saying that once a person connects, then the person will transcend. What will he transcend? Shabda Brahma ati vartate, the Shabda Brahma, the Veda, the Upanishad, all of it. Tukaram, who did not learn full Sanskrit, he was not a Shastri. There were so many Shastris in his village. Yet with his experiences, initially he was quiet, but then they were all wrong. They asked him to throw all of his books. They asked him to throw it into the river. The Shastri only decreed that whatever is teaching is wrong, whatever is teaching is false. So it has to be just put it into the water. Everybody, all the village witnessed it. And what happened? It came back. And then he connected. He connected. This is at that time he was very, like we say, Krishna Arpanam and accept, no, like that with sorrow. All his, what we can say, Tukaram's Abhangas. That time they were not called Abhanga, they were just his sayings. All that he had written, everything he was willing to throw it. He was like, okay, maybe I am having Ankar, maybe the divine wants this to happen. All right, with sincerity. And when it came back, then he went on to say, Vedanta to Arthama Sitsathava. I alone can claim to know the meaning of the Vedas. How can somebody who does not have the knowledge of the Shastris dare to do it? Well, that daring is from the experience. Swami Vivekananda had come back from Chicago and people asked him, you are saying like this, but this particular Shastri is saying this, or this particular saint has said this. What do you say? This person has said. He said, because I, Swami Vivekananda, say so. That's all. Means he said, I have the adhikar. And because where is his adhikar? It is not ahankar. It is from sakshatkar. That sakshatkar comes, and when the sakshatkar comes, the person transforms and transcends. Because once somebody had used his scriptural knowledge, he tried to show off in front of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He said, I'll spit on that knowledge of yours, is what he said. He's not disrespecting the scriptures there. He is talking about the higher knowledge there. Many people misinterpret this particular shloka, trying to say the Upanishads are less, this is that, this is less. It is not that. It is not that. It is about the realization, and the realization is one. That realization which can be got from the Upanishads can also be got by connecting with the Brahman, and there will not be Bheda, but there will be correlation only. Krishna goes on, Prayatnad Yatamanastu Yogi Sanshuddhi Kilvishaha Aneka Janma Sansiddhi Siddhas Tato Yati Param Gatim. But by concerted efforts and a sincerity in action, the seeker of union gravitates slowly towards perfection. Over a period of many births, he becomes sinless and purified. And with the knowledge highest, his endeavors are justified. So what happens, Krishna is saying? Ultimately, the Sakshatkar comes. All who seek only will find, isn't it? And those who seek will definitely find. The sincerity is there in seeking, then those who seek will definitely experience also. Slowly, slowly. This is one more aspect. Once one starts walking on the path of sadhana, perfection. What is perfection? Perfection is called siddhi only, isn't it? In Ayurveda manufacturing, we say siddha lakshana. Has this taila become siddha? Meaning it has become perfect. We have our tests for it. Rasa, gandha, sparsha, different, the smell, the taste, all of that. The bubbles also, all of this, they teach us that. Like that, somebody who does sadhana, slowly the actions of that person, the words of that person, the thoughts of the person, all of these start getting purified. They start becoming what we call divine actions. Many times they speak some things and those things happen. It's called Vacha Siddhi. Again, Sankalpa also becomes Siddha for someone. These are all direct consequences of rising. Our job is not to get attached to the Siddhis, but our job is to do the sadhana so that we keep progressing. Because Krishna says, over a period of many births, he becomes sinless and purified. And with the knowledge highest, his endeavors are justified. We are not able to tolerate this birth only. Imagine if we get knowledge of so many births. Well, some realization does come to people and they come to terms with so many things. That quietude is there and that link is established, Krishna says, and then it becomes worth all those falls, all the suffering, all the pain. It was all for that particular moment, the moment of realization. It creates that ground for it. That time it becomes justified. Krishna goes on, tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo matodhikaha, karmebhyash chadhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, become the yogi. What is this yogi going to do? Open Arjuna Meditation Center in Kurukshetra? No, he is going to take part in Ghor Karma, the same karma which he called Ghor Karma, but he is going to do that in a state of Yog. Yog means union. Union with what? With the divine. The simplest question, why should Yog be done? Because Vyog is there. Because separation is there, there only union will happen, isn't it? If there was no separation, how will that happen? So the ground is already ready. There is a separation, there is a longing, there is a pining. So then that union will also happen. And Krishna says, become the yogi, the right one, or we can call it the integral yogi. What does he say? He says, in comparison to the firm ascetic, he is greater. Sometimes people are very rigid in their asceticism also. They get great out tapasyas, they get certain siddhis, hatha yoga and all, you see. Some hatha yogis gets really, sometimes one person raises the hand is permanently up only. That is a permanent, uh, what we can say, it's very difficult to keep your hand overcome, but that is one, we should not make fun of anybody's, what is the endeavor, because this is another marga of yoga. It is a yoga. But somewhere it is a they say greater than the greatest of tapasvis, whoever has done the ghor tapasyas also, greater than that greatest tapasvi, he is greater. Then Jnanibhyo Matodhika. Some people are brilliant in their knowledge. We feel, "Arey, what is this? This person has so much knowledge. What will happen? Man? Will I get? I will not get only 10%. I'll get 0.5% also is fine, but that also doesn't look like it's going to come. These kind of feelings come. I can say from me only, from my personal experience, I'm talking about. Some people are so brilliant in their knowledge because they've got it. We feel like they've done some great sadhana already and they've got it. Well, Krishna says, even greater than that greatest jnani, he who then he says, and men of knowledge and works too. Means karmebhyash chadhiko yogi. Means Some people do say some great karmas, such great karmas that it just overwhelms us. We feel, oh my God, what a great karma. This is something unbelievable. Well, Krishna says, no, greater than the greatest karma yogi also is that person. Who is that person? He who practices yoga integrally is most superior to me. And so, a yogi is what? Oh, Arjuna, I ask you to be. So, when you are integrating, what is this integral? Integrating all the parts of yoga. There's a Jnana Marga, isn't it? There's a Karma Marga also. Yes or not? So, then there's Bhakti Marga also. Each person says my Marga is different from the other. But is it different really? The three paths. Are the three paths exclusive or they're intertwined? Anybody? Yes?
They are all inclusive.
Okay, Anjuji says they're all inclusive.
There
All
are
right,
different
Joyji.
paths which lead to
Lead
probably
to one.
Okay, so there are different
Yes.
paths. So, okay, so like Pondicherry to Chennai, we have a ECR road and there's one more route which we can take via Tindivanam, I think. So there are different routes, is what Vinita ji is saying. All right. Anybody would like to add to what Anjuji and Vinita ji just said? Joyi ji, we're adding something.
Actually, the paths are intertwined. That's what I think. For
So they're
example,
not
bhakti
different
and
routes.
gyan marg, they are not different routes. They
Okay.
can
Okay.
be, a person can only take jnana, but it can be a combination of bhakti and the jnana, bhakti and the
So
karma. And
okay.
we have had different saints who have combined these ones. So
All right. So maybe they're not that exclusive as we think. They are probably all three shades are there. Okay. Yes, that is exactly what Krishna is also talking about. It is something, this is very interesting. Become the integral yogi, meaning what is it? You are surrendering your attachment to your preference of the Yog Marga also, allowing the divine to walk, divine to take you ahead, the divine to lead. Because I want to hammer a nail onto the wall. What do I need? Jnana, karma, or bhakti? Anybody? I want to hammer a nail onto the wall. What do I need? Karma or bhakti or jnana? Anybody?
All three are needed.
Aditi ji says all three. You want to say why, Aditi ji?
Because
It's a
uh,
nail, you know?
yeah, because Gyan will lead you to start the action, Karm will make you sustain, and uh,
Okay.
that
Bhakti?
Bhakti will
I
keep
should
you
have.
devoted towards it and let you finish it.
Ah, beautifully said. Absolutely. So it's not that I'm going to keep praying to the hammer, please go inside. It is something like that. It's like knowledge is required, isn't it? I need to know what type of wall it is. Is it a cement concrete or it is some other material? What is it? Fire clay bricks. What is it? So what type of what is the purpose of that nail? Is it going to hang a light frame or is it going to hang something heavy? So that knowledge is required. Without that knowledge, no. But just the knowledge, is it enough? No. I have to do a karma, isn't it? Again, without karma, knowledge is dry, empty. Karma has to be done. Just because I am so wise, I know so much, I don't do anything. That's of no use. It's better not having that knowledge only if you're not going to follow it or practice it. So karma is equally important. Then comes the question of bhakti. Some will say what bhakti is required in hammering a nail on the wall. I think Aditi ji perfectly answered. And yes, that knowledge should be there and the faith that I'll hit it right. Otherwise, if you have doubt, what's going to happen? Anybody tries hitting a nail with doubt, they're going to hit their thumb only. There was a story when we grew up. We heard a story of Uncle Podger hangs a picture. It was an entire chapter about an uncle trying to hang a picture. Everybody in the house are all called, you stand here, you stand there. And ultimately, the picture is cross only. He's not hung it right. But it becomes a big scene. Bhakti is required. Sometimes we don't have bhakti in ourselves only. How will we do? So Krishna is asking, just integrate all of this, integrate all jnana, karma, bhakti. Just because I have a rasa in bhakti I cannot close my doors towards knowledge, isn't it? Some people say, no, no, I like bhajan, I like kirtan, don't tell me shastra. So will you willfully deny yourself the shastric knowledge just because you're enjoying the, what we can say, prayas ananda, no? That is what we can say. It is a prayers feeling, no? It is a prayers joy, sukha, not ananda. Ananda is beyond prayers. It is always shreyas. So out of desire, you are choosing something. Or some person say, I like to read so many books, but I don't have faith in divine at all. I read about Adhyatma, but I don't feel any love for the divine. That's again like having a beautiful plant, having wonderful soil, but no water. What's the use? It will wilt, it will fall. That is all. So the moisture of bhakti is also required. Knowledge is also required. It has to be coupled with action also. And Krishna is saying, become that yogi who is integrating everything. But it becomes difficult. How does one do it? Krishna answers it in the next shloka. Before we have the question itself, Krishna's answer is there. He says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. He whose inner self to me has been consecrated. For me, an infinite faith and love, he who has accommodated. Amongst all the yogis who holds the divine dear, he is in union with me, and to me he is most near. Krishna says somebody who has, that is why Shraddha is a magic word actually. In the Bhagavad Gita, if you want to hear one word which will transform everything, it is Shraddha. Most difficult of difficult, you can Raja Vidya also suddenly you will find simple secret, Shraddha. You don't have knowledge, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Have Shraddha, you will get knowledge. So this Shraddha is something which is innate inside everybody. Only problem is it is not manifest, it is not expressed. Why? Purva Sanskar. There's a fountain, everything is fine, only there are boulders blocking the sprouting of that fountain. So what should you do? Remove the boulders and it will pound. That's all. Shraddha will start, and with Shraddha everything else falls in place. Krishna says somebody whose inner self to me has been consecrated. This person has full Shraddha in the divine. The divine will take care of me. Divine will take care no matter what. I'm sincere. I will do my best. His surrender is complete. In an infinite faith and love, for me, he has accommodated. Meaning, you have given space for the God in your heart. Most people are not having, they say, no room. For the divine, also, they don't have space in their heart. It is full of desires, full of, insecurities, full of some kind of negative emotions. Instead, let love blossom. Blossom. Your heart will become wide. It will become infinite like the divine only. Because that is the power of Shraddha. It will allow you to become wider and experience that oneness. Krishna says, amongst all yogis who hold the divine dear, so many yogis, why do they go on the path of yoga? Because they love the divine, isn't it? They seek the divine. But Krishna says, among all those, this person who is having that infinite love to the divine, for the divine, Anjaneya was asked, isn't it? Where is Sri Rama? Where is Sita Maya? So he says, yes, here. And he just, that was a darshana somebody got. Well, that is just a symbolic aspect of that highest truth. Let the divine be present. And in the Sri Aurobindo Ashram school, a small child had written very beautiful poem. There is a sweet mother deep in my heart, always together, never shall we part. What a prayer, huh? Of a small child. But it is having everything, isn't it? Means this is the confidence, this is the Shraddha, this is the bhakti, this will take you in your all difficult moments. Well, that is what Krishna is talking about. This person is in union with me, and to me, he is most near. There is no separation at all. We'll look at one more shloka and then we'll stop. We start the 7th adhyaya today. This is the union through knowledge. Krishna goes on. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manaha Partha Yogam Yunjana Madashrayaha Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gnasasi. Tat Shrunu. Two shlokas. We'll look at 1 and 2, both. O Arjuna, with the consciousness fully absorbed, when in me a firm foundation is resolved, your every doubt will be answered and cleared, and the undiluted knowledge from me you will hear. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna, when you engage in Shravana, Shravanam of what? When you listen with full sincerity, with full surrender, when you establish a firm foundation of the divine consciousness. How does one establish anybody? The divine consciousness, how does one establish it firmly in our life? Anyone? Any way we can think of? Yes? Can anybody think of how? It's not that difficult also actually.
Meditating on self.
Okay, meditating on the self, but we meditate at times, isn't it? Many times we walk around. Now say you are with your colleagues. You'll have to wait. I'm meditating now. You can't go in the middle of a conversation. So yes, that is true. Meditating will allow us to relate, will allow us to connect, will allow us to expand our consciousness. But to keep that foundation in the divine at all times, how can we do that?
Good karma. Good
Good
karma.
karma. But I don't get a chance to do karma because I'm waiting in line for my turn. So that line sometimes becomes too long. Then we start having a fight in the line only. So good karma also, yes, while doing good karma, yes. But how can we make it a point at all times? Yes.
Make it a way of life.
Okay, Anjuji says way of life. So now, for example, right now, Anjuji, how will you have foundation in the divine right now at this moment?
Because then you're always roaming in that zone. You're always in that zone. तो फिर अगर even if you deviate तो आप वापस आ जाते हो जल्दी.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
if you
so that is
You
what.
realize where you are going wrong.
Okay.
Actually, then you again go back to your faith.
Ji. All right. Yes, ji. Vinita ji is adding
if
something.
you're dedicating everything, your thoughts, your actions,
Yeah. Yes.
to
Smarana of the divine. It is important. It is
You
something.
surrender.
Yes, absolutely. Vasundhara ji said, yes, surrender. Bina ji is adding something.
Yeah, you do everything with full Shraddha,
Full
absolute.
Yes.
Have full trust in him that he will take care of it.
Absolutely. And this can be done in the middle of the most difficult activities also. One participant shared her experience. She was an anesthesiologist. She had to, she met a mother of a child who had met an accident, young man in 20s. And she went into the operating room and there they had to insert a tube. Unless that tube was inserted, that operation could not have been done. But the accident was so bad that the face, everything was damaged and it was not possible. And she was struggling. She asked her seniors also could not. It was very difficult for her. And she said, I just prayed to Krishna. She just said, I don't know. What, please, I don't want to go and see that mother and say I was not successful. Please help me. Yes, that's all she said. Means at that moment, she is a karma yogi only, isn't it? She's doing her karma. But while doing karma, she has not lost concentration from the karma. But at the time, the smaran in the higher, she didn't say that she did. And even in the class, when she was saying, I don't know what happened. Now, that is humility only, isn't it? Did Krishna come and quickly do that? He did it through her, probably, is what she's saying. I didn't do it at all. It was done by the divine. Meaning that is the experience. The foundation of the divine was there at that particular moment. And she says that which was not working, I still don't know. We tried for 20-25 minutes. It was not successful. We were almost thinking of giving up. That time I really prayed very sincerely, please help me. And it happened. But now you see, foundation was there, no? That is why the karma also became Divya karma. The mother was blessed. Her son was saved. She felt very happy that I could do something. More than she could do something, she was saying, I still feel so happy it was not me who did it. Somebody else did it through me, is what she said. But this aspect of keeping a foundation, Krishna is saying, when that foundation, each of us has to find that out ourselves. everybody's backstory is different. So how we find it, it is up to us. We can get help, we can ask somebody, we can ask friends, we can ask some questions about it of who were on the same marga, no? That is always the best thing. If people are on the same marga, you can always share and learn from each other. But each person's journey is their own journey. So once that foundation is established, Krishna says, your every doubt will be answered. Every doubt will be answered. Why? And the undiluted knowledge from me you will hear. Krishna is saying it's like a promise, you will hear it from me. Is it only exclusive promise with with temporary offer only for Arjuna? Not applicable to anybody else? Or is it a promise to each of us also? Anybody?
To everyone who follows.
Yes, yes. And this experience is there worth experiencing in life. That is something. And Krishna says, you will hear it directly from me. Somebody will have a pratyaksha darshana. Somebody will not have pratyaksha darshana. It will happen through madhyam. Somebody will have some anumana. This will happen, so this happened, and they can suddenly they see some supralogical aspect. And they say, oh wow, this is something special. So this is what Krishna is saying. We'll go on, we'll stop with the next shloka. Krishna says, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshamya sheshataha yajnatva neha bhuyonyad jnatavyam avashishyate. The science of union, to you I shall explain that which by engaging in yoga one can attain, that undiluted knowledge after which doubts won't persist, that knowledge beyond which nothing does exist. Krishna is saying this is the knowledge. This knowledge will end all doubts. What does that mean? That person becomes quiet, the person becomes receptive. Many times there are so many questions on the start of the path. But after a while, the questions only stop. I have heard one person saying, I respect the answers that I don't know. Because I know the time will come when I have to understand it, I will understand. But the path has become clear. There is clarity about what is happening. That is what Krishna is talking about. That you will hear, I'll explain this knowledge, Krishna says, after which all doubts will disappear. Many times these doubts are our biggest enemies. We have questions which are not answered. They only create all the psychosis in our life, all the fears, all the sorrows. Those suddenly, even those dots which we feel won't connect, suddenly connect. Ananda Chidohi, Ananda Taranga. There's Ananda everywhere. The life becomes Ananda afterwards. That's what Krishna is saying. Fortunately, Arjuna is not going to stop having doubts. So Gita will go on even after this knowledge, which is supposedly meant to destroy all doubts. Arjuna will still have some doubts. Maybe the nature of the doubts may change. So with this we stop. We stop in the 7th adhyay. This is the last adhyay. We will see Arjuna different because next adhyay onwards, Arjuna is going to change, that long awaited change from skeptic to sadhak. The seeker is going to be born. That will be in the 8th adhyay. That adhyay is about the adhyay of death. That shakes a lot. Death is something which starts off a journey in many people. So something like that Arjuna is also going to see. But still this adhyay it will go on. So with this we conclude today's session. Can someone summarize something that we saw? We will conclude with the Shanti Mantra. If you have any queries after the Shanti Mantra, they are welcome. And Aditi ji's question last week, that was very much appreciated by so many people, and they really liked the way the questions was being asked. They asked if that alone can be cut into the post Gita session discussion, so that can be made into a video. So that will be uploaded later on. Yes, please. Anybody, can you summarize? Somebody was speaking.
So
I think I.
Shraddha and surrender are the key to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Ji. Okay, that was one word summary actually. Yes, Shraddha and surrender the key. Anybody would like to add to what Anjuji has said?
Arjuna's concern was what happens to those who go astray when they are on the path. So Krishna is trying to allay his fear that not once you are on the path, even if you go astray, I mean, you don't lose your
Punya, whatever punya is.
punya.
Yeah.
And maybe even the next birth, you are given that advantage of being born in uh, a family which is conducive, or in a house of a yogi, or even probably.
Yeah. So it doesn't go waste, isn't it?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is one thing we see. And that is what in humanity also, no? Many times we feel, what is this brute force everywhere is surviving? We see what is there, why should there be ideals? Why poetry? Why art? Why all of this? This is of no use. And I was told by one poet, what the only thing, if you become a great poet, you might be able to pay 1 or 2 months of your electricity bill. So So, but nobody writes poetry for paying the bills also, isn't it? This is a reason, it is expression, it is expression of passion, it is expression of one's something higher and something like that. So everything, little things which we feel don't really matter, it's not like that. They do matter. Krishna is saying that this is what makes life special. And he says there's no yoga bhrashta. So people like me who had unnecessary fear of what's going to happen in my next birth can be very much at rest, because yes, there is no regression from Manusha Yoni to another Yoni. We will only move ahead. Think of it like a bank account. Deposit money, it grows. Yes. The day you stop depositing, it will not unless you withdraw. So that's what Krishna talked about, that no yoga bhrashta Arjuna. You just go ahead, the journey goes on. Everybody is going through journey. Krishna himself told, no, he also has taken many births before becoming the Krishna that Arjuna knows. Arjuna also has taken so many births. Difference Arjuna does not know. It's all right. Yeah, the Smriti is not there. Yes, Chief. So with this, we conclude with the Shanti mantra. If anybody has any queries, you can look at. And Krishna said, Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Become the yogi. Means Krishna wants every single one of us to become yogi. A yogi at work, who is doing work. A yogi can bake the best cakes. A yogi can give the best medical treatment also. A yogi can become the best teacher. Yogi can become best politician also. Anywhere. How is it? Well, when you are connected with the divine consciousness. That's what Krishna says. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Arjuna, first become the yogi, then begin the battle. So I think that's the message for every one of us also. Let us all become yogis, is what Krishna is wanting from us. Hari Om. Let us conclude. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Jai Shri Krishna. Any queries are there? You are welcome, or we conclude. Yes, Shri.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Ji. Namaskar. Hari Om Sir.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om Ji. Hari Om.
Yeah, I wanted to just ask that in the 41st shloka, when Krishna is saying that they will attain the realm of the pious sentient beings. So that means that he's establishing the presence of some Swarga and Nark and
Not Swarga and Narka, but other
and
realms are there. Yeah, there are realms. There are other realms. Means there is. We will see in the 8th Adhyaya also about other realms. There are lokas. You can say there are. I think in
then
modern.
Swarglok only.
Huh?
Swarg is also called Swarglok only. Swarglok,
Ah,
Narglok.
there is Chandra Loka is there. Swarga and because Swarga and heaven, they have become very symbolic in so many places. They have become very rigid. But we have something called Chandra Loka. There is something called Pitar Loka, and there are different states of consciousness. Now, modern day theoretical physicists also talk about it, isn't it? Parallel universes. They talk about, at least theoretically, they say it's definitely a possibility which cannot be denied. And there is something connecting each loka to each other. They call it wormhole from one place to another. We call it Krishna. Something similar, probably. But there are states of existence which people are not fully, we are not fully aware. until we realize we have to now rely on what Gita says so far.
And
And
also, like Atma also has a character. So it's if we are born with
the Jivatman has the character. And when the Jivatman merges, it is like the drop is having its own shape and everything. But when drop becomes the ocean, there is nothing after that, isn't it? The drop is one with the ocean. But as long as that it is not yet united, till then there is going to be a character. So something it is like rivers moving different direction, finally going into the ocean. I think that one beautiful Subhashit was shared, wasn't it, by um, Dr. Vidushaji, I think, yes, in the group. Something like that. Jivatman's characters are described. If you see Taittiriya Upanishad, they talk about the koshas, that this is the Sharira, and it's like one kosha is not. It's interesting. It is what we can say, but best would be to experience and try to experientially understand some things rather than just trying to, because I tried to, write based on my mind. It was not very good, whatever output I got. So I thought it is something better, which is let us wait. When you get understanding, we'll probably try to write it down when it is got. But many times, but this is something which is interesting to probe also. And let the experience come also, when it has to. But this is there in the eighth adhyaya. It was very interesting. One young astrophysicist was there during the COVID time. He was jumping up and down. He said, this is the eighth adhyaya for him was only about what we can say, this theoretical physics concepts. He said this is what we can say parallel universe theory. Then he said time dilation is there. Then one more place I can see one more reference. Who knows? It is actually very interesting because we call Akash Ganga and Milky Way are same. You can say our galaxy appears like a coiled serpent, and here we are talking about Shesha, Vishnu sleeping on Shesha comfortably. What is Shesha? Again, the serpent only. So when looked at, our galaxy appears like a serpent only. So these are all interesting aspects which are worth exploring probably. Yes, ji. Alrighty. Hari Om. Namaskar. Hari Om.